I see.
A ghost!
Beard.
Beard.
Come on, Ghost.
Beard.
Ghost!
Beard the pirate.
Or better known as
Run! Ghosts.
Beard.
The pirate still lives centuries after his death.
Ghosts, ghouls, goblins, and gremlins. It's your boy Ghostbeard. Got a ghost my own damn YouTube channel. I do apologize, guys, but life's been pretty crazy, and I can't promise I'm coming back to be consistent. But I just had to get this list out to you. As you know, or maybe you don't, Red and specifically Whitebeard got hit with a huge nerf, with Rad Beam, Newgate, and Marco Blocker all being restricted to one copy each per deck. And this put the game into such an exciting space. Like, you're not just going to be seeing a million Whitebeards every tournament. And overall, it's great news for our favorite old man Garp. So I've been working on a list, including the starter 8 cards that are coming out on August 11th. And that starter deck just really adds some much needed support for Garp, specifically the 4-cost Kobe and the 9-cost Shanks. I have thought about running that 5-cost Enclave, but I don't know yet. But anyways, let's go ahead and take a look at the list here just to see what we're working with. Alright, so we're back with another deck profile for the hero of the Marines, Garp. If you're not familiar, this is his leader ability. When you attach Dawn to this leader or your characters, reduce by -1 the cost of up to one of your opponent's cost 7 or lower characters during this turn. Basically, as long as their character is cost 7 or below, for each Dawn we attach to ourselves or characters, they're going to lose a cost. And I personally think this is the most powerful black leader ability because it allows me to, manipulate characters to put them into range of my removal cards. So let's go ahead and jump in, and you guys can see what really makes Garp so great and what makes this deck so fun. So let's go ahead and start with Suru, a 1-cost 2k counter. And her ability is on play, give up to one of your opponent's characters -2 cost during this turn. So like I just said, characters need to be cost 7 or less for our leader ability to affect them. So she's going to be one of the main cards that's going to help get those 8 costs, those 9 costs, those 10 costs down to 7 and below, so then we can start subtracting more cost and get rid of them. Next up, we have Kobe from the starter 8 pack, which comes out on August 11th. And I gotta say, this card is just so good. He is a 4-cost, 1000 power stat line with 1k counter. He's super weak on board by himself, but being able to KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 2 or less without sacrificing or trashing a card is super huge. So he's basically replaced 5-cost Garp, 6-cost Sakazuki, 3-cost Kobe. He's basically replaced them because he does not require you to trash a card. So he's been awesome. I think 2 is an appropriate amount. Any more than that just kind of feels, useless. Next up, we have the 2-cost Monkey D Garp. This guy has been a staple in the deck since Garp was introduced. He's 3000 power, 2000 counter, 2000 counter power, and his ability is KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 0, and that's after you attach 2 Dawn onto him. So again, guys, with how easy it is for me to manipulate cost with my leader, this is probably the strongest card in my deck because I'm just clearing everybody. I take out 10 drops with this, 9 drops, whoever, anybody. Next up, we have brand new. This is going to be our Navy Searcher. He's a 2-cost, 3000 power stat line, 1000 counter power. His ability is to look at the top 3 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1 Navy type card other than himself, and add it to your hand, trash the remaining cards. So he's going to be really helpful in finding our key Navy players. So that's going to be our Garbs, our Kobe, Suru, our Kuzans, our Borsalinos. and a couple of our events as well. He's going to be able to search those out. So he's great. But I am a little bit cautious about using him sometimes because he's not able to search Shanks or 10 drop Kuzan, and I need them. So sometimes I kind of just hold off on using him because I don't want to trash those cards. Next up, we have Fukuro, 3 costs, 3,000 power, stat line, 1,000 counter power, blocker. And he's pretty special because he cannot be KO'd by effects. He's basically a mini Borsellino. This guy is awesome. I get him onto the board early, and then I just let him sit there until literally the end of the game, and they can't do anything about it. Next up, we have Tashigi. She is a 3 cost, 4,000 power stat line, and she is 2,000 counter power. Her ability is you may rest this character and give up to one of your opponent's characters -2 cost for this turn. So she's basically the same thing as Suru. She's going to give somebody -2 so that we can get them in range of our ability. The thing with her though is because she costs 3, you're paying 3 to subtract 2. So I try to already have her on board if I know I'm going to use her ability, because using her ability the same turn you play her is just kind of neg. But yeah, she's a great card. On to the next one. We got 3 Roronoa Zoros, and this is a 3 cost, 5,000 power stat line rush body, and you know it's Zoro. Everybody knows him. He's gonna come in and do what he does. He's great pressure, and he's just great. I just really enjoy this card, but I feel like 3 is an appropriate amount. Any more than that doesn't really make sense, especially since we got 2 Luffy. Next up, we have the 4-drop Kuzan. This card, I used to not like it like at all, but now I'm kind of obsessed. His ability is to on play draw 1 card, and then when he's attacking, he's going to give one of your opponent's characters -4 cost. And so he's a 4 cost, 5,000 power stat line with no counter power, but that's alright. I usually just drop him as soon as I can because he's just going to enable all of my removal to such a higher degree. He's gonna make Kobe, Garp, Shanks, Kuzan, Meteor, Volcano, and Impact Wave. He just makes all of them so much more powerful because I don't have to invest Dawn to cost subtract. He's just gonna do it for me now. So that's great. Next up, we have Borsellino, probably still the best blocker in the game, at least in set 3. I think in set 4 it's going to be somebody else, but right now it's still Borsellino. He is a 4 cost, 5,000 power, 1k counter power blocker. And his effect is he cannot be KO'd by effects, just like Fukuro, and he gains 1,000 power, but both of those effects are only on opponent's turns. So on your turn, if they hit Jet Pistol or something out of life, he can definitely die. Impact Wave out of life, he'll die. So for that reason, I only have 3 because I just don't want to rely too heavily on him. And his cost kind of clogs up your hand sometimes. But when I do play Borsellino, because he is susceptible to removal, I'm swinging with him almost every turn, unless I know for sure I need to block. So this guy, he definitely puts in a ton of work. He's awesome. Next up, we got 2 copies of 5 cost Monkey D. Luffy. He's 6,000 power stat line. He's a rush card, and when you attach 2 Dawn to him, he can bypass blockers. So he's a really great closer. If I see him early, I don't mind playing him just because I know I'll see it. I might see the other one, but usually I'll just save him till end game. If they have a wall of blockers, then I'm just gonna play him and get that final hit. So he's awesome. I feel like this guy is like Cristiano Ronaldo sometimes, the way he just closed the game out with that final strike. But anyways, moving on, we got another new starter 8 card, 9 cost Shanks. He's 9 costs, 10,000 power stat line, no counter power. And his ability is on play, you may trash one card from your hand, KO all characters. Let me read that again. KO all characters with the cost of 1 or less. Guys, this card is just insane. It's just so insane. When you have 10 cost Kuzan on board, or 4 cost even, they're just going to help this guy completely wipe out the board. This card has won me so many games. I've cleared out 10 drops with his ability. You understand? Like, this guy is just insane. And even if you don't have the necessary people on board to enable his ability, he's not bad to play as just a 9 cost vanilla if you're going first. So, shouts out Shanks. Next up, we have 10 cost Kuzan. 10 cost, 10,000 power stat line. His effect is all of your opponent's characters get -5 cost to their turn, and on play, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with the cost of 0. This guy has been. I used to hate on this card too. I used to hate on both of the Kuzans, but now I love both of them. This guy is just going to come in. If they have a cost 5, they're out of here. And then from that point on, as long as he's on the board, everything is cost -5. I really enjoy this card because he's one of the few, boss cards that incentivizes you to drop a follow-up. So for example, like 10 cost Big Mom, if you drop 1, you get another life, and you take a life. If you drop another one, you get another life, and you take another life. So you're incentivized to keep dropping as many as you can. It's kind of the same thing with Kuzan, because as long as I have 1 on board, the second one is going to be even stronger when I drop it on whoever. So say they have a 10 cost on board. If I have one of these guys on board already, if I drop the other one, that 10 cost is dead. And comboing him, like I said, with Shanks is just super satisfying. Next, into the events. First up, we have 6 King Pistol. This card, I literally only added it because I added Kuzan, and so obviously since I don't have Dawn up, I need something to protect myself. So this card has been super clutch actually, but I think 2 is an appropriate amount just because it requires you to trash for that 3,000. But it definitely has clutched some games for me. The trigger's not that good, but it's not that bad. Draw 1 card, and then KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less. That could be like a blocker or something, but usually I don't activate the trigger and I just hold it. Next up, we got our 1 mandatory Radical Beam. For 1 Dawn, you get 2,000 power. If you have 2 or less life, you get 4,000 power. And as a 4 cost leader, it's going to be pretty easy for us to get in range of Radical Beam. As you guys know, it got restricted, so you can only run a max of 1 copy. So that's kind of annoying because we don't have any way to search it, or at least I don't have any way. I'm not using any searchers that could find it. So sometimes when I use brand new or something, he just ends up trashing it, but it's not that big a deal. Next up, we have Gum Gum Red Hawk. So two cost events. You gain 4,000 power and you KO one of your opponent's characters with 4,000 power or less. This card's pretty good for clearing, little weenies, especially against Zoro, Law, just getting them out of there. And its trigger is one of the best in the game. Your opponent's leader or one of their characters lose 10,000 power for the duration of the turn. That trigger out of life can win or lose you a game. If you hit that out of life and somebody needed that last swing to win, you just hit the lotto. And vice versa if they end up hitting it on you, right? Sometimes I hit it out of life and it literally hits nobody, it does nothing. But that's not that big a deal either because I can still just use it later on to protect my life. Next up, we have Meteor Volcano. I'm running 3 copies of this. It'll allow you for 2 costs to KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 1 or less. And again, with how easy it is for us to manipulate cost, the this card is just so strong with this leader, with this deck, because I'm clearing basically whoever I want. Oh, my laptop's about to die. All right, let's finish up. Let's get this last one. All right, we have Impact Wave, 3 copies, 2 cost event that gives you 4,000 power and allows you to KO up to one of your opponent's characters with with the cost of 3 or less, but they have to be active. That stipulation of them having to be active kind of does bite us in the ass a couple times, but overall it's still a pretty good card. The trigger is pretty good too, KO up to one of your opponent's characters with a cost of 4 or less. But yeah, guys, this is the deck that I'm running right here. We have 3 full sets of 2K counters. We got 7 blockers. We got 8 defensive events, and I don't know, just a ton of removal, a ton of enabling removal. Overall, guys, this deck has just been super fun to play. So yeah, that's the list. Let me know what you guys think. I'm super excited for you to try it out, to see what changes you guys make to it, just see where you can take it. But I think Garp right now is in a pretty decent spot here in set 3. And I think he's going to be even stronger next set. So, I'm going to be here pushing that Garp agenda every day, every way. But until next time, ghosts, ghouls, goblins, and gremlins, it's your boy, Ghostbeard. Gotta ghost my own YouTube channel. No promises I won't do it again. But I hope you guys are doing well out there, and I will see you next time.
Ghost, I'm beginning to suspect that you're not real.